Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Allison. Thank you so much for finding me. Today I want to talk about friendships and how staying in certain friendships after you've outgrown them can block your blessings in life. Quite literally, block your blessings. I have had a lot of friendship cycles throughout my life where they're all great at the time. We really have fun together. But I reach a certain point of self-development. I feel like my life mission in life is self-development. So I've reached certain points in friendships where I realize that I've outgrown them, and the way that these friends live their lives doesn't really resonate with me anymore. And sometimes this can be hard to come to this realization, especially if you've been friends with someone for a long time or you guys have been through a lot together. It can be hard to face the reality of, hey, maybe we don't click anymore, you know? And I personally know that friends can block your blessings because I dealt with this a couple years ago where I was friends with someone for about 5 years, and our friendship, it wasn't toxic as far as how we got along. We didn't fight or anything like that, but I realized that I was really the worst version of myself when I was friends with them, and it was really normalized between us. I feel like with friendships, especially when you're young, we really make a joke out of oh, I'm a hot mess, or my best friend's a hot mess express, ha ha, he. It's all a joke until one day you wake up and realize wait, my life shouldn't be a spectacle for others. And that's what I really realized in this friendship that I was in. There was a lot of self-sabotaging and just toxic things that I would do in the way I lived my own life. And it was almost encouraged by this person. It was fun. And I get that, everyone's going to have probably that period in their life, especially in your early 20s, where being a hot mess, it's you have to learn to embrace it because that's just life. But then you have to also analyze wait, am I being the best version of myself, or am I just making a joke out of being a hot mess? And I finally realized in this friendship that they really liked seeing me thrive in my chaos. I don't know why I use the word thrive, because babe, I was not thriving, but they really enjoyed my life being chaotic. And I finally had this realization through a third party person. It was someone that they were close with, but I wasn't really friends with. And one time we were all together, and this third party said something to me about my personal life. And it finally clicked in my head. They were speaking about me they knew me, and casting a judgment upon how I was. And I finally realized oh, this friend I have, we're not in this chaos together. They are just keeping me around because they like seeing my life in chaos. I'm pretty much I'm a joke to them. My life and my chaos, it's just a joke to them. And so once I cut this friend off, I was going through a lot at the time too. I was really at my rock bottom with my mental health. And so I really sought out professional help with that. And in that, and there was a lot of trauma that I had been through previously. So really working through that in my therapy programs, and really analyzing who I am and who I am as a person. What do I stand for? What are my morals and values? And once I did that work, I decided to not go back to that friendship because I just knew that I was the worst version of myself with them, and there was really no room for growth. And once I cut that friendship off, like my blessings came in like tenfold. Like I got my first apartment that I had been wanting for the longest time. I made the most money that I had ever made up until that point. I had a new relationship. Like I started thriving after cutting that off, after I chose to walk away from normalizing chaos. And after that happened, I am an esthetician. That's what I did before going into life coaching. And that's kind of what made me realize too that I really liked giving advice to people. I think a lot of people in the beauty industry could relate to having clients come to you and like tell you their entire life story. And I really just found myself like liking like giving advice and just like sharing my wisdom with people that I had learned through my own life. So I had a client that would always come in and have the craziest dating stories, like borderline dangerous, like dates with crazy men. And like we would kind of, laugh about it. And she would always have stories, okay? And then finally, one appointment, she told me, she's like, she always wanted love too. That's the thing. Like she was a lover girl at heart. Okay. And so she told me, one appointment, like, I don't know if I actually want a relationship because then I won't have funny dating stories to share with my friends. And I asked her, I was like, why is your life entertainment for others? Why should your life be a spectacle for others? And it got real quiet for a second. And I was like, oh, did I go too far? And she just said, you're right. I'll give that to you. I'll think about that. I didn't see this client for probably 8 months. She didn't come back for a while. And I for a little bit after, like when she wasn't showing up in the time that she normally would, I was kind of like, oh, maybe I went too far with like what I said to her. Maybe I offended her. She ended up coming back 8 months later to me. And when I tell you, this girl was like brand new. She was like glowing, like her hair was completely different. She had a rock on her finger, okay? And she told me that after our last appointment, she really sat with what I said and she started paying attention to the way her and her friends would interact and kind of like the conversations they had and what was normalized between them with like messy dating lives and just being a hot mess. And she realized that once she got quiet, she kind of went within and stopped dating for a little bit. And she realized that when she was no longer talking about herself, there was nothing to talk about with her and these friends. And her friends would kind of like probe too and be like, oh, how's dating? Oh, and like even project things onto her. Like you'll never find love, like your love life is just a hot mess. And that's when she realized like those were never my friends. And so she stepped away from them. She ended up meeting an amazing guy. She got like a promotion at work that allowed her to travel abroad. And that's why I didn't see her for a while. Like quite literally everything fell in place for her once she walked away from the friendships that were not good for her. When she walked away from the friendships that wanted her to be in chaos. And I just like gave her such a big hug because I knew exactly how that felt. I had been in that energy before. And we oftentimes don't want to really be real with ourselves when it comes down to like cutting people off, because especially if you're a people pleaser, like you don't want to be the villain, but sometimes you kind of have to. If it's for your own well-being, sometimes you have to cut people off and it really hurts. But if the people around you don't want to see you be the best version of yourself, they aren't for you. And that's what I realized too. Like my mental state that I was in that friendship was terrible. And like, where was the care? I know it's not your place to like help other people, but I just look back and think like, yo, if you were really my friend, if I was someone's friend in that situation, I would have really like spoken up and been like, hey, you know what you're doing, how you're living your life, it's not good. Like, you need to prioritize your mental and get your shit together. So if you find yourself surrounded by people that like that you have problems and they feel better about that because they feel validated in their own problems, they are not your friends. They are not your friends. I think as women especially, we really need to start normalizing, like, speaking up and telling people, like, hey, the way that you're acting, the way that you're going about life is not healthy, and I need you to take care of yourself. So another thing with friendships too that I find is that we get kind of lost. We kind of lose our identity and our morals and values, like what we actually stand for, because we become so enmeshed with other people. And I am totally a believer that you're able to be friends with people that have different backgrounds and, you know, beliefs, whether it's like religion or politics. But both parties need to be open if you do have different views. And that's what I experienced in this past friendship, is that this person was very anti-religion, like very like talking down on Christians, you know, Christians are crazy. And mind you, like I'll give them that. Like, every religion has people that take it a little bit too far, and I do not resonate with religion when it comes to like judging people and discriminating. Like, no, I don't stand for that. But being friends with someone like that was so vocal on what they didn't believe in instead of what they actually believed in really projected onto me. And I myself thought that I was like a non-believer. And there was even a time where at one point my car, like, I found a Christian radio channel and I just kept it on there, and I would just like listen to it in the background on days where I didn't feel like hooking up my aux or whatever. And so I told this friend, like, kind of as a joke, because I knew how they felt about religion, but I was kind of like, yo, like, I've been listening to this Christian, you know, radio channel, and it actually makes me feel good. I've been actually low-key feeling good. When I tell you, their response was very, very hateful. Very hateful. And once I was like going through my treatment program and healing my mental and really reconnecting with myself, I like realized like, no, like I am a believer. I do believe in God. I do resonate with more of like spirituality than like textbook religion. But like being friends with that person truly took me away from God. Being around the wrong people will truly take you away from the things that you truly believe in and that are important to you. And so, you know, really analyzing the type of people you want to be around and their habits, their beliefs, how they live their lives is very important. And I've just realized like every friendship cycle that I've been in my life, it's really like resulted in me just like being on my own. And I am like a loner. That's my life mission at this point, is to be in my own energy and not cloud my own judgment and my intuition with other people. And I used to really struggle with this in my early 20s of just like wanting friends just because I felt like I needed them. I was really like quantity over quality. And I even remember when I was like in my early 20s and I would kind of struggle with, you know, having like a solid friend group, the friends that I did have too, like they would look down on me for kind of being like an introverted person. And when it would come to like the weekends and like talking about plans, like when I would say I didn't have plans, they would like act like something was wrong with that. Like they pitied me. But I realize now, like, being able to be in your own company is a superpower. There are people that cannot stand being alone. They cannot be alone with their own thoughts. And I'm very much in the energy now. I'm 27, about to be 28, and I've once again found myself with no friends. And recently, this is a result of me moving to a new place. And I've met some new people, but I've really realized, like, I don't want to say I have friends just to say I do. And if I don't click with someone right away, I'm not going to force it just so I have someone to go out with on the weekends. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'll hang out by myself. I'll be my own person because honestly, I enjoy my own company best rather than being around a bunch of people. So I really encourage you, if you feel like you have friends that you don't resonate with, but you're really, afraid or hesitant to cut them off because you don't want to be alone, be alone. Be alone. I promise you. I promise you, being alone will make you become the best version of yourself, and it will bring you blessings. You will have blessings just by choosing yourself, just by being strong in your own individuality, especially if you are on a spiritual journey. You can't surround yourself with just anyone on a spiritual journey. You truly can't. You can't take on other people's negative energy and problems all the time. It's going to drain you, and you need to come back to yourself. And really, you'll applaud yourself eventually, because eventually things will fall back into place for you. And you'll realize that the version you were in those friendships, relationship, whatever it is, that version may never come back, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe for more. Bye.